Oh, hello, YouTube. Today in the Naughty Librarian, I am bringing you a giant-ass smutty book haul. You heard that right. Lots of smutty books are ahead in your future because I really haven't done like a book haul video since like the beginning of the year. So all of the books I've been getting, either for the publisher or from friends or as gifts or from like library book sales, have just been piling up for like 3 months at this point. it's a lot. And there's even more books, so I think it's going to be a 2-part book haul. Otherwise, it's going to be like 50 odd books. Just too many books for one video, in my own opinion. So this is all of the romance offerings, because there's a lot of them, and I feel like let's just do a big video about smut. Why not? On that note, let's dive into all the new smutty delights I have picked up. I've kind of separated them into like historical and modern day. Those are the 2 options I have. So let's start things off here with a good old classic here, Julia Quinn. So this is Lady Whistledown Strikes Back, and this is a bunch of little novellas, and it's Julia Quinn, Suzanne Enoch, Karen Hawkins, and Mia Ryan. I love Julia Quinn. I love Suzanne Enoch. I haven't read Karen Hawkins or Mia Ryan, but hey, I like finding new authors, so I'm into it. And is this going to be like little historical romancy vibes? I'm thinking it's kind of like all about Lady Whistledown and like scandal and like, I love a scandal. Like I want to gasp at things. So, yeah, I think I just like got this randomly, like, I don't know, at Target or something. I'm just like getting books for the sake of it. But yeah, Lady Whistledown Strikes Back, little novellas, in case I'm looking for something short. And speaking of like Bridgerton, Lady Whistledown, etc., I also picked up the comic version of Mrs. Butterworth and the Mad Baron, which is like the book that a lot of the characters are reading in Bridgerton, and they put out a graphic novel version of, you know, Mrs. Butterworth and the Mad Baron, and I'm very excited to read it because it looks redonkulous already. But yeah, so it's like a graphic novel version. I'm very excited. It's kind of a deep take because it's literally a book from inside of another book series, and now there's pictures. So I don't know. I'm really happy about it. I think I got this one for Christmas actually, so I'm pretty excited about it. And then we're going to take it old school Julia Quinn for a minute, and I have Splendid. And this was actually Julia Quinn's first published work from back in the 90s. I picked this one up specifically because I picked it for my pick for the Blazing Bodice Rippers book club. My live show is in the end of April. Very excited about it, and we're going to be doing this one. I'm going to make them all read it. This is the year OG 23. We're going like old school on all of our particular, you know, genre of choice. And I picked romance, and like I could have gone real old school romance, but I decided, you know what, Julia Quinn's very popular right now. There's the whole Bridgerton thing. Let's see the OG version of her. So we went back to the 90s for her debut novel. So I think this is going to be fun. Hopefully, I don't know, sometimes, you know, Julia Quinn could be problematic. So we'll find out. But it's going to be, you know, historical romance from the 90s. Gasp. Speaking of old school romance for just a hot second, I also got this copy of Love Remember Me by Beatrice Small, and I got it just because of this clinch AF cover. I got it from a library book sale. It was actually in the free bin, so I got this for free. So that's a good price to pay, but like that is clinchy AF and I'm into it. Like this is a cover buy. I honestly never even read the blurb. I have no idea what it's about. But now that I'm looking at the back of the book, it does have like a picture of Henry VIII on it. And I was like, that's odd. I don't think this is a Henry VIII thing, but I guess it's medieval. Okay, I just read the blurb really briefly. This does take place in the court of King Henry VIII, so definitely medieval England. And she's like a lady in waiting to King Henry's 4th wife, which was Anna of Cleves? Anne of Cleves, right? Am I correct? I'll look that up after I film this. I'm just going off memory because it doesn't actually say who the 4th wife is on the flap at all. But yeah, I think it's Anne of Cleves was his 4th wife, who survived actually. So that's good to start with. There's not going to be a lot of beheadings in this, at least. Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's very old school romance, and I'm like, I got it just for the cover. More historicals here. Let's stick with like our big name authors first. Why not? Because okay, hear me out. I know I have said goodbye to Lisa Klepes. I know I have, but for some reason I want to give another chance to this author because, like, so far I have never been impressed by Elisa Klepes, but I found these at a library book sale and it was literally 3 for $1, so I'm like, okay, well, for $1 I'll get a few to try. All 3 books are related to each other a little bit. They're all part of like the Ravenels, and also there's some crossovers here, but Chasing Cassandra is the one I'm most nervous about because this one, I'm pretty sure the male lead in this one is a hot garbage individual, but I want to try it out still. Maybe I'm just a glutton for punishment, but like for some reason I'm like, maybe I should try Lisa Klepes again. I don't know why I'm like this. And then I just also got this copy of Devil in Winter, which is kind of like, you know, the cult classic Lisa Klepes. Everybody likes this book. I've read this book. I didn't like it that much, but look at this clinchy step back. And I was like, ooh, clinchy step back. Okay, like maybe I'll fuck with it for a minute. So I got it simply for the clinch, like step back. And then I got Devil's Daughter, which is also part of these like Ravenels and people series. This one is kind of like wealthy widow kind of situation, and then like a rake. And I was like, okay, like you had me at wealthy widow, really. So I was like into it. I don't think like, oh my God, like there's been a thing in like historical romances where you get like the virgin widow, which is like, why? Like you really had to stretch to get a virgin heroine in that. She's been married. So who knows? I don't know if they're going to go that direction or not. But yeah, it was 3 for $1. So I picked up some Lisa Klepes. I'm a glutton for punishment. So another big author I have here in historical romance, Eloisa James. I got a couple of those. Again, this was also part of that 3 for $1 sale. And I have this Duchess of Mine, and kind of clinchy, am I right? Ooh, okay, so Eloisa James, I'm kind of having like a renaissance with at the moment, where like I wasn't into Eloisa James for like the longest time, and now I'm kind of like, maybe I'm into Eloisa James. Like, I don't know. I read a couple books by her recently that I really liked. So I wanted to get more and try more books out to see if those were a fluke or if maybe like my taste has changed. And this one makes me nervous a little bit because this is kind of like a relationship where they're both doing fucked up stuff to each other the whole book. And like, it's either gonna work really well or I'm just gonna be upset. I don't know which is which yet. But basically they get married and she's like, oh, I found out a secret about you and I don't like you anymore. And she like runs off and like fucks around for like 9 years getting into scandals and shit. And then her husband's like, hey, we gotta make it air. Come home. And she's like, all right, but you have to do all this stuff. You have to fall in love with me. And he's like, but I don't believe in love. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the whole like dynamics of this. It's either going to be great or it's going to be awful. It's one of the two. And then I got this other little group of novellas. It's like a Christmas one. I was planning to read this around Christmas and I didn't get to it. So it's just been sitting on my shelf. But this has Eloisa James, Christy Caldwell, Jana McGregor, and Erica Ridley. Now, I love Erica Ridley a lot. If you haven't read anything by Erica Ridley, I highly suggest picking them up, especially if you like Tessa Dare, like humor. She has some really good stuff coming out now, so definitely check out Erica Ridley. And then Eloisa James, and then Christy Caldwell and Jana McGregor, I haven't read before, but I like finding new authors. Honestly, I found a lot of historical romance authors through novellas, because I'm like, oh, that novella was good, let me see what else they got. And then sometimes I find a lot of cool stuff. So I really like these like novella bind-ups. They're kind of fun. And so last up on my like bigger name historical romance novel author list, I have Lindsay Sands. This is called Sweet Revenge, and it's very Scottish. Like if you want to like kilty delights, like come to Lindsay Sands. Like all of them are Scottish. And this is kind of like a kidnapping based romance, which I'm like about, but like basically this guy, he's like, this guy's my enemy. I'm gonna kidnap his wife and have her fall in love with me. And like, that's his big plan. And she's like, awesome, that guy sucked. I'm happy you kidnapped me. And which is like a weird vibe, but like, you know what? Maybe that guy really sucked. Like kidnapping was a favorable option in this situation. I don't know. But it's gonna have kilts. It's gonna be delightfully funny. And it's going to have probably a murder mystery going on here. Someone's going to be trying to killing this woman because kind of all of Lindsay Sands' plots are the same. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Then I just got like a bunch of other random historical romances, and all of these I pretty much got in that like 3 for $1 sale, which I love. 3 for $1 is a great price at this library book sale. I cleaned up on romances basically, and these might be bigger named romance authors, but like they're newer to me. They're not as big as like I would know them as someone who isn't so immersed in the genre. Starting off here, I have Noble Destiny by Katie McAllister. And I just kind of got it because it seemed fun. She's holding an apple on the front of the cover, and I was like, all right, I like apples. Like, I didn't really like have a lot of thought process involved in picking these books. But that being said, I do think it's kind of a cool like plot. You have this woman, she eloped with like an Italian count who had the bad taste to die on her. So she's like, well, shit, I need to find a new husband because like I have social problems now in the town. Oh, you? Hey, Scottish laird, we're getting married. And he's like, why? And she's like, because. And he's like, but I don't have money. She's like, I don't care. We're getting married. And he's like, oh God. So that's kind of the vibe with this one, which I'm like into. I think it might be really fun. I think she might either be very kind of feisty and like a heroine I really get into, or she's going to be just insufferable. It's gonna go one or two ways. Now, like a kind of well-known-ish actually author that I had in this pile was Kiernan Byrne, because I had heard of Kiernan Byrne. And this is The Duke with the Dragon Tattoo, which I'm like, I love that title, first of all. And from the blurb, it does kind of seem like it's gonna be a bit of a darker take, because like, it starts off with this guy, right? Our titular Duke with the Dragon Tattoo, who has no memories, but he wakes up in a mass grave with a dragon tattoo, and he's like, this is all I know about myself. Oh goodness. And then there's this girl who like nurses him back to health and stuff, and then he like destroys her enemies for her, which I'm like into a little bit. So like, I don't really know how this is gonna go, but it definitely starts off really dark. And I know Kiernan Byrne does write a little bit of dark romance, so I'm worried a bit. But, like, it does have a cool premise that I'm, like, into. I also grabbed Dukes Do It Better by Bethany Bennett. But our male romantic lead is, like, an admiral. So, like, he's, like, on boats and stuff, which means he knows how to tie some good knots. So I'm like, okay, there's things to play with in this scenario that might be fun. And also our female lead, Emma, she is, I don't know, she has like a secret past and a son, and then like if her secret gets out, her life is ruined. I don't know what the secret is, but apparently I guess this guy, they have a common enemy and they like team up. And I was like, okay, whatever. You had me at boats, really. Like, I'm just like, I don't know why I get so excited when I see like boats in historical romance. I get excited every time, and a lot of times I'm disappointed by it, but like I still keep going back for more. And then I got two different books by Amelia Gray. So I have Only a Duchess Would Dare and An Earl to Enchant, and they're both part of the same series, Rogue's Dynasty. I don't know which one came first. I literally just grabbed a lot because they were 3 for $1. So this one in particular, there's like a thief around, and this one in particular, there's like a thief and murder around. So there's both thieving going on here. But I think like the Duchess in this one, she accuses this Earl of stealing her pearls. And he's like, lady, these are my pearls. I don't know what you're talking about. And then things go on from there. And in this one, this girl, like her dad gets killed because he invented this medical device, and now they're trying to kill her. And then she's like, hey, Earl, I walked into your house all scared I'm gonna get killed. And he's like, okay, like, I'll help, even though I'm a notorious rake, like one of those. But like, I love them. I don't care. I don't care if it's formulaic. I still like them. The last up in my historical romance section of this haul, I have two of these like bigger books that have come out recently. This one was a gift. This one I bought. First up, I have Never Rescue a Rogue by Virginia Heath. And this one was given to me by a friend, and I think my friend just didn't want it anymore, so she gave it to me. But I was like, I'll take it, why not? And this one, it's very kind of, you know, the same formula here. It's an enemies to lovers. You know, there's a secret of like illegitimate birth somewhere in there. And like these enemies have to work together, but then they fall in love for real. And like, yes, love that. I also picked up The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen by K.J. Charles. And I picked this up mainly because I saw Bethany from Beautifully Bookish Bethany read it and really liked it. So I was like, okay, I need to get this. So this is a historical romance, and I'm just gonna read like the first sentence because it says everything it needs to. It says, an unwary gentleman and his charming smuggler prince find love amidst skullduggery, danger, and murder most foul. And I was like, yes, tell me no more. I already want to read this. And there's like a blurb on it. It says like a romantic swashbuckling tale. And I'm like, yes, you had me a swashbuckling. I want this. So yeah, this is just coming off of like recommendations I've seen from other people who've read it. And it sounded really good. So I grabbed it at the bookstore. Okay, so now we're going to move into like the modern era here. Just when you thought I had enough smut, I have more smut. Okay, so this first section, I picked up some romance manga because I have never really read manga, but like I hear a lot about it and I kind of wanted to do a video. I'm like, what if I just read like a bunch of romance manga? And then like, obviously I haven't done the video. It might still happen. We'll find out. So I just grabbed like 2 books that I thought were fun from the bookstore. So I first got Game. And this one I have seen a lot of people have read it and enjoyed it. It's kind of like office-based enemies to lovers type of romance, and like it gets like smutty like immediately. Like they're banging in chapter what? Sorry, I just opened to a random page and like balls deep. Sorry, I'm like, I didn't know how graphically illustrated these were because they come wrapped in plastic when you buy them. That should have been my first clue. Like if you can't even open it in the store, people be fucking in this. So yeah, these are way more graphically illustrated than I ever thought. And now this next book, like this book I knew was gonna be crazy and probably explicit, but like I wasn't really prepared still for how explicit it was. But I have a book called Dick Fight Island. You heard that right, everybody. It's called Dick Fight Island. What is this about, you may ask? Well, it's about an island where a bunch of guys fight with their dicks. Not kidding. Not kidding at all. And like, I thought it was gonna be like, you know, like crazy, like they have robotic penises and they have like fights, but it's like, no, it's like a fucking battle. And I was like, oh, that's a lot of penises. Like, I don't know why I was surprised, but like I still was. Moving on from Dick Fight Island, let's get into some other stuff that maybe is more wholesome, surprisingly. So first things first, I have Shipwrecked by Olivia Dade. This was actually a Christmas present and I'm just getting around to finally like making it into a video. But Olivia Dade has written a couple other books that I've read. I have enjoyed them. They're very body positive. Love that about them. But the thing I really like about this one in particular is that both our romantic leads are plus size people. It's not just one party in the relationship. Hey, bigger men need love too. And I'm like kind of into bigger dudes right now. So I'm like, okay, like I'm vibing with this right now. So I'm very excited to read it. I love it for that premise to start with, but it's also kind of like a one night stand that went wrong. And then the problem is the one night stand, you guys are actually co-stars on a very popular TV show and you're going to be co-stars for the next 6 years and you have that in your background and you're kind of enemies. But then like romance happens still and like I'm into it. I don't know. I'm very excited to read this one. I want to give it a chance here. I also picked up A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Hawley. And this one just kind of came on my radar because I had some subscribers come to reading sprints and they were reading it and really liked it. So I was like, that sounds like something I would like. So I just bought it off like reader recommendations. And I mean, I think the title says all it needs to say. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. There's a witch, there's a demon, they're fake dating for purposes. And I'm into it. I love it. Tell me no more. I just have to know the title and I already want to read this. Another present I got from a friend is Two Wrongs Make a Right by Chloe Leese. And this one, I kind of like this one. Okay, so it's fake dating, but like it's like aggressively spiteful fake dating, which I'm like, yes. Love that whole vibe. Basically, there's these two people. They had a meat disaster. They're like, we should never date. This is a terrible idea. But then all their friends decide, oh, we're going to play Cupid. We're going to like trick you into dating. And they're like, oh, oh, you want us to date? We're gonna date the most obnoxiously you've ever seen in your life. So it's a little fake dating just for revenge. And then they fall in love for real. And I'm like, I love it. So it's like such a great premise that I'm super into it. One more book I got as a present was Well, That Was Unexpected by Jessie Q. Sutanto. And she wrote Dial A For Aunties, which is a book I really wanted to read. It's one of those cozy mysteries with like a dash of romance in it. And I wanted to read it, but I hadn't yet. So this one, I think it's kind of either YA or like new adult because the way the characters are described. Basically, there's this girl and then she gets caught in a compromising situation with her boyfriend, and her mother's like, oh, no. She Fresh Princess this girl right out of LA, and she sends her to Indonesia, like her mother's home country, for the summer. However, joke's on the mom, because as soon as she gets to, Indonesia, she meets this boy, and his name is George Clooney Tanya Wijawa. And love that for them. And of course, they're gonna find a romance. Basically, they're two kids and their parents are like, hey, you both have problems, go hang out with each other. And they're like, oh no. And then like romance. And I'm like, I like the vibes of this. I think it's kind of fun. So last up, I have a couple of books from Book of the Month, the romances I've picked up. And first off, I have Lunar Love by Lauren Kung Jessen. And this one, I think it came out around like Chinese New Year, and I just hadn't read it yet. It's been a minute. So yeah. So this is an enemies to lovers kind of story. So we have this girl and she takes over like her grandmother's matchmaking company, and it's all based on like the Chinese zodiac. And then they have like a rival app coming out that's based on, the Chinese zodiac as well, but making it like animal attraction, and it's like cheesy. And she's like, oh, hell no. And then the guy who's making the app, he's like hot or something. And then like enemies to lovers, sparks fly, romance ensues. And into it. I like it. I want to try this one out. And last up for this video, I have Georgie All Along by Kate Claiborne. And this one is kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of resonating with Georgie in particular. She's been an assistant for a long time, and her own wants and needs have always been on the back burner until finally, like, a lot of stuff happens. She ends up in her like hometown, and then she's like, oh my gosh, I don't have any wants and needs anymore because I've ignored them for so long. They've gone away. What do I do with my life? And then she finds like her old like childhood journal that had all these like wild things in it, and she's like, I'm gonna start doing these. And then enter our love interest. He used to be like the town bad boy. Now he's the town hermit, and he offers to help her on her journey. They end up being roommates somehow, so it's totally like a Grump Sunshine type of situation. And like, I'm into it. I'm into personal growth here. I think this is going to be actually something I'm going to resonate with, and I think I might really like it actually. So it's a book I wouldn't have known about without Book of the Month, so that's always like a plus. Oh boy, that was a lot of books. That was about 25, I think, smutty delights I have picked up in the first 3 months of this year. A lot of them are here. So anyway, let me know in the comments down below, what's an anticipated smutty delight that you are excited about reading? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. If you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to see cool exclusive content, including early access to videos and a book club, you can consider becoming a channel member or a patron. Links for that are in the description down below. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.